What's up, y'all? It's your boy Mighty Mouse here, back with another video. Today I wanted to discuss the things that are coming up in the upcoming patch. They have a live stream coming on, I believe, the 27th of March, which is relatively soon. But we're just going to kind of hit the cliff notes here. I'm going to give my opinion on how I think GGG is doing right now, or what I think they're doing that they're not communicating, because it's been kind of a lot of radio silence other than like the little tidbits that they've shared. But from what I've seen, starting with the things I do like, I mean, the essence thing, the visual essence thing, I could, take it or leave it, but nonetheless, it is an improvement. The support gems that are coming out, some of them like adding just yet another stat stacking capability with the intelligence, which is, I mean, that's something, but I don't think it was necessary. My favorite change with the support gems is the batter shout, which finally gives shouts the ability to use armor explosion like other abilities have. So you break the armor and then boom, it consumes the armor up, I believe it's 50% of the value, and then it scales based on 4% extra damage or 4% more damage per 50 strength you have. So let's say you had an enemy with 22,000 armor. You break the armor, it explodes for 11,000 damage, but let's say you have 900 strength, then divide that by 50, so that's like 72%. So you would roughly be hitting for, it would be like a 18,000 damage, base damage, So then that's multiplied by all your other things, and then you blow up the bodies with the shouts, and then, or maybe you use trample toe. I mean, this really, like, it opens up some things for the Warbringer that we really didn't have prior to this, and that's what I play, so that's really what I'm focusing on. As far as the uniques, I'm a little confused by their tactics. What they're coming out with is, I mean, the one mace is kind of like a direct bite of the Avarion Spear of Lycander from Diablo 4, but nonetheless, it leads me to believe, right, you're seeing a melee style weapon that is engaging the content in a completely different way. Like, it for one, it's weird because it has the highest physical DPS of any mace weapon, like as far as base damage, but yet it has mana regen on it, all resistances on it, and you get shrine buffs. So it's just a little strange. I don't know, it's like, do you want me to hit with it? Do you want me to support with it? So what I'm thinking is, like, what I've noticed GGG does a lot of is the, like, Easter egg hunt. Like, they give you a small detail, you're looking in this location, but there's something in the text that alludes to what they're going to be doing. Now, this is pure speculation. I'm hoping that means that we're getting another, like, class that wields maces like the Templar. I'm really hoping that that's what that means. But with that change to batter shot, I'm probably going to be playing Warbringer again anyways, because that's like the one thing I was waiting on to help my DPS. I kind of want to go like pure shouts as much as possible. But there's not really a lot in the way of detail for the changes, so we don't know much. But how I'm taking that as a person who is an addict in recovery, when I was doing the hard work, right, people were complaining the most about me. I was a grind ball, I was a dirt ball, this and that. I wasn't calling everybody and letting them know how well I'm doing. Like, oh, I'm making these changes, that. I was just doing the work, and I was going to let when they seen me, the next time they seen me, I was going to let my outward appearance and my demeanor and my actions dictate how they thought I was doing. And I feel like with all the hoopla around GGG, them abandoning Path of Exile 1, and the fact that there's been a lot of radio silence from an otherwise pretty transparent company. I mean, I've done my research on them. I didn't really have a lot of experience with Path of Exile 1, but when these guys want to do something, it kind of regardless of how the community feels, they just did it. But I think with the like sheer success, like the sheer numbers that Path of Exile 2 in early access is doing, they're kind of getting into that realm of, well, we're not just letting down 50,000 people that are playing in a league of a 10-year-old game, or 100,000 people at peak that are playing in a 10-year-old, 12-year-old game. Now we're talking about 200,000 concurrent players, like at any given time, millions of people that are going to be logging in once a week on Tuesday or Thursday or the weekend when they get free time away from work or whatever. So now they're like, well, we can't make these aggressive changes as quickly as we would want to, because then people have to change their builds, people have to spend their gold to respec. I mean, they could give free respecs, but that's another topic for another day, whatever. But what I'm getting at is, instead of telling you everything they're doing, like they mentioned, they have the ascendancies, and those are minor. Those are the minor changes. Everything they've depicted is minor. They're coming out with some major changes, and I think this is like their attempt at redemption, so to speak. They're just going to let you see it with your own eyes, not hear it from them, just experience it when it comes out, or maybe they'll talk about it the week before and let you know, hey, this is really what's going to be happening. We've been really hard at work. We didn't want to say it yet because we didn't know if we would meet the deadlines, and then if you said something about it and you couldn't meet the deadline, then it's just yet again another failed thing. So they're just like, you know what, we're going to keep it to ourselves. That way, if it doesn't pan out, then we didn't lie. But if it does pan out, then it's going to probably be the savior of the new league or whatever. So I'm hoping for maybe another class, maybe a little surprise class, ascendancies for every class that we have currently, maybe a couple more new uniques that are kind of geared towards the other classes that are coming out, maybe some more support gems, maybe a new end-game pinnacle boss, maybe a new mechanic altogether, something else. I mean, because if changes to the Atlas passive tree, ascendancies for the already existing classes, as well as the towers changing to be able to be juiced up, which I'm honestly not a fan, because I like to do every map before I get any towers activated with precursor tablets. So now I have to go out of my way to just clear every tower 2 on the way to this thing, because last thing I want to do is I have a tablet that has 8 maps on it, and there's 8 plus the tower, so then I have to navigate to the tower and do it so that it doesn't hit the tower instead of the corrupted, irradiated boss delirium map I'm trying to make into a breach. You know what I mean? Like, that's just my opinion. Some people might be, with juice in the towers, and that's fine. That's all well and good, but I just kind of like being able to go through them, linear path, A to B, activate the little thing at the end, call it a day, get out of there, fly out. But again, I can take it or leave it. It's not like a game-breaking mechanic. But those are my hopes. My hopes are the things that they're communicating are truly the minor things. And then the major things are going to be mind-boggling. And they're going to come out and they're going to say, oh, we got, all these new end game mechanics to engage with. We're gonna switch up the maps. Like, we're gonna be putting like 100% extra XP on certain maps. We're gonna change some of the flavor. Maybe a 1 in 30 chance that when you go into a map, it completely changes from what it was. Like, it's just some form of corruption, past corruption, that you're just like in the depths of hell and all the mobs are on fire and change, and it adds a completely different layer of difficulty to the game. Something crazy. I don't know. I'm kind of a glass half full type of guy, so I'm hoping that GGG is just gonna knock it out of the park. Aside from that, I'm hoping maybe a little more control on the crafting side of things, aside from the omens. Maybe a rework to essences. For example, okay, maybe, just putting it out there, if I wanted leech on my weapon, I would use a life or a mana essence on the frickin' thing. I wouldn't use a physical or an attack modifier if I'm trying to get leech. So if we could just remove that from a possibility of rolls on the essence to give people a little bit more control and stop bricking so many two-handed maces, then I think that would be a good thing. That would be a net positive. You could feel free to put your battles and torments on weapons, knowing whole well you're not going to be getting physical damage as life or as mana. Sorry, need a little drink. But if they didn't, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But I would appreciate another form of crafting, something with a little more control, a little more depth, rather than just alchemy orb, 2 exalts, or, you know, transmutation, augmentation, regal, 3 exalts, essence, transmutation, or essence, augmentation, essence, 3 exalts. But with the economy reset, I think it might be kind of nice, because I myself am a big fan of the orbs of annulment. I had a theory. I was going to stock up on them because I knew in the end game the orbs of annulment were going to go up drastically, and at one point I had like 200 of them, and if I sold them right now, I could have made several divs off of that, like we did with the exotic coinage when the first major expedition change came. But aside from that, and to prevent me from continuing to ramble, we'll go to the negatives. The communication. You know, we're not hearing a whole lot, and a lot of people will take that as they're just not doing anything, or they don't want to tell us anything because they fear the backlash or whatever. And I think Diablo 4, like Blizzard, was really bad at that. They would either radio silence and come out with something, and it would either knock it out or be a travesty. But for them, it wasn't transparency. It was more like asking, what do you want? It's a live service game. What do you want us to do? And believe it or not, we as the players might not know what's best for the longevity of the game. Like, if you want handouts and like, oh, I want the content to be easier, I want it to be, you know, completely to have all control over every craft in the game, so that once I get my first white expert maul or staff, I can just craft it. Now that's my forever weapon, and I don't ever have to do another one. And that's not my opinion. I like the grind. I like all of that. But I think they're silent for a reason. Having said that, if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe, like, comment, put us in the algorithm, share your opinions or your comments below. We'll see you next time. Stay blessed, and as always, Stay mousy, my friends. We'll see you.